The 10 best SummerSlam PLE events by myself and NXT. That's right, we're in hot seat and we've got the whiteboards out and we're going to count down from 10 to 1 the best SummerSlam PLE events of all time. We're going to actually add scores to these as well. 10th place is going to get 1 point, 9th place is going to get 2 points, and the number one spot gets the full 10 points. At the end of the video, we're going to add the scores together and give you the definitive top 3. But in the meantime, it's opinion time. It's a top 10. I'm going to give my attempt. It could be different to NXT's 10th position. It's going to be a fun ride, ladies and gentlemen. But what's most fun of all is getting to know your top 10 SummerSlam. So drop your ones in the comment section below on this video. NXT, welcome to the video. It's great to have you on board. Are you ready to count down with me the best SummerSlam PLE events of all time?
I don't think I've ever chopped and changed the top 10 list more in my life than when it comes to this one, because my list was a completely different order at the start. But I mean, 10 minutes before we started recording, I think I finally got it nailed down.
Let's see if our comment section will agree with you at the end of the video as we dive into number 10. 3, 2, 1.
Hey,
nice.
Close enough.
Two modern ones to kick things off as well there. Go on, dive into us. SummerSlam 2023, why it's got 10th place for you.
For me, 2023 across the board is a solid pay-per-view card. You've got the likes of Logan Paul versus Ricochet, which is obviously a solid match. Cody Rhodes defeats Brock Lesnar, which is a blow-off. Gunther versus Drew, which is a killer match. Seth defeating Finn Balor. Just in general is a solid pay-per-view across the board, aside from the main event where it kind of goes a bit. So I sat and thought that out of 9 matches, 7 of them are pretty good. I think that deserves a 10 for me, just in general, being an overall decent pay-per-view.
Yeah, do you know what? It's an honorary mention for me. It very closely came into that spot, but I thought that 2022 just pipped it in Nashville, Tennessee, where the main event of that show was a last man standing match. WWE finally got it right with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns after so many years of trying, because they brought a tractor into the situation. My goodness, how much fun that was as well. And when as well, Brock had the mic and he threw it in and Roman caught it as well. Just was a really fun little moment as well. There's some other great matches on the show as well. Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch, obviously the year before was like 20 odd seconds. This one was a good 15-20 minute match between the two ladies for the championship. Logan Paul versus The Miz was better than expected. It's just a decent SummerSlam from top to bottom 2022 in Nashville. Usos versus Street Profits, even though Jeff Jarrett's a special guest referee, it's just a fun time all around. But of course, that main event sends us home proper happy, and I think the difference of the two main events is why this one made my top 10.
Yeah, I can see why. It is one of my most favourite SummerSlam matches, the 2022 main event. It blows out of the water what a Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match is going to be, and it's just so much fun. It's chaos. It's everything. I can see why you've put it there.
If I knew all the other years when they did that match, it could have been just as fun as that. 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. Close. Continuation of 2022.
Like I said, the main event for 2022 is just one of my most favorite ones. It's so much fun, and I know the rest of the card might not be as good as the one before, but the fact that it's one of my favorite main events in SummerSlam history, I kind of have to rank it above the last one, which is why it goes number 9 for me.
Yeah, I can totally understand it. And like I say, it's a very memorable match. When you think of SummerSlam in the last sort of 5-10 years, that Brock Roman match is one of the first ones you think of, just because of how unique and how different of a concept, and how that show just finished in general was very special indeed. But for me, moving to 2019, Toronto, Canada, the SummerSlam before the pandemic, just felt like a really special show. I had a really fun time watching it. It's the first one I think of is the debut of the Fiend character, Bray Wyatt, having the match against Finn Balor. It's a squash match, but the presentation of Bray is just special, unique. The aura, everything about it was just so refreshing when you'd seen that the Eater of Worlds has kind of run its course and had been building as well to this character debuting for months as well. We had Charlotte Flair versus Trish Stratus as well on this show, which I thought was a lot of fun. Seth versus Brock Lesnar as well was the main event for the Universal Championship. So there's some good stuff on there. There's a mixed bag as well. Obviously, Kofi and Randy Orton, the stupid feud, unfortunately didn't get its cleanest finish on this show, but they would go on to conclude this on another show. But yeah, all in all, I thought this was was a very decent SummerSlam, and yeah, I think it's a worthy position at number 9.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There is this Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler on that card as well, which is also equally a stinker. But then you've got AJ Styles versus Ricochet, which is a bit of a killer match, and also even Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon's a really good one. So I can see why you've got that on there.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I'd actually argue that Goldberg match is probably his best match of his entire second run, because Dolph Ziggler is someone that could just easily sell for him and make him look good, and we didn't care that Ziggler lost either. So kind of almost a win-win for everyone. Maybe that should have been Goldberg's last match.
Look, then at least we'll know to worry about it this year. But yeah, unfortunately not.
That's what it is. Let's move on to number 8. 3, 2, 1. Nice.
Ooh, 91. Okay.
Well, let's go with 2016 first.
I mean, for me, having Finn Balor beat Seth Rollins for the Universal title at the time, it was the perfect booking for the draft. How Finn Balor was brought up and presented on the main roster, him winning in general. I know he only wins it for a day, and then he has to forfeit it. But for me, I think it's such a good match. There is obviously the Brock Lesnar Randy Orton match, which obviously turns a bit shoot, which is kind of a bit scary. But then also you've got AJ Styles versus John Cena on this card, and do you know what I mean? 2 killer matches and a shoot match. That's a pretty good card, if you're honest with you.
Might not be the last time you hear that card on this video. I totally agree with you that SummerSlam 2016 is certainly worthy in a place in the top 10. But some might question the choice of 1991. Is it a one-match card? It possibly could be. Bret the Hitman Hart beating Mr. Perfect for the Intercontinental Championship in arguably one of the best SummerSlam matches of all time. A technical masterclass from start to finish. But do you know what? The rest of this show, probably a bit questionable. But do you know what? As someone that was a young fan watching, so nostalgic to my childhood. Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth wedding at the end of the show. Who does not love a wrestling wedding? Come on. And it had a happy ending as well, which most wrestling weddings do not have. Okay, it is main event with a tag team match, which was the classic thing with early SummerSlam matches. I think it was Warrior and Hogan against Sergeant Slaughter and his faction at the time. But in the rest of this show as well, Big Boss Man versus the Mountie, and the losers spend the night in jail. Again, awful TV. As a kid, so bloody fun. It kicks in. It's a fun time.
Yeah, you just saying that match alone, and I remember that being the one, because it was like the US Police Authority versus the Canadian Authority, and I remember that feud so well now you mention it. But look, that's the one thing I tried to avoid when doing these lists, was the one match card, which might come back to bite me later on. I don't know, I can't remember. Only once we'll do it, I'll sit there and go, that's going to bite me. But I agree with what you're saying. Perfect versus Bret, one of the best SummerSlam matches ever, and it's a great shout. I'm not going to criticize you for putting it on there, because that match is awesome.
Thing is, like I say, even though some of the other stuff is really bad, I've watched that show a million times, and as a kid, it was one of my go-to ones. So it would be criminal for the inner child in me to not put that in the top 10.
Yeah, no, I get it.
3, 2, 1. Wow, I went hell. If I may go first on this one, because you already mentioned 2016. I think it's a brilliant SummerSlam. 2016, such a refreshing time as well, because obviously the draft has just been brought back in once again, where things felt quite stale on the main roster. And all of a sudden, we've got SmackDown Live with the Land of Opportunity, with Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan running the show. Mick Foley, Stephanie on Raw, crowning a brand new champion, that Universal Championship. You mentioned Finn Balor versus Seth. An amazing match, even if the title run didn't last very long for Balor. I'd even argue, had that injury not happened for Balor, that dude could have been face of the company. I really, really feel that night just went wrong, and unfortunately he's never got back to that same height again. But for me, the main talking point is AJ Styles and John Cena. My God, what a great match. And we mentioned on the last one, by the way, technical masterclass with Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect. That made Bret Hart, when he became IC champion, to go on to further, to go to the main event, to win the WWF Championship, which would be in 1992. On this show, it did it for AJ Styles to beat John Cena. AJ became, what was it, the champ that runs the camp a month later, because he would go on to Backlash and beat Dean Ambrose to win the title. But the match is superb. AJ Styles is made in this match, and on the SmackDown side, that was enough to propel him to that top spot. And for me, it certainly has to be given honorable mention. And just another couple of mentions in the show as well, particularly the tag team, the friends of Chris Jericho and KO. Obviously have the match with Enzo and Kaz to kick off. The meme that goes around with KO on the apron as well, doing the dance, the Enzo dance, is just something that's always really fun for me as well. So yeah, and Dean Ambrose is the champion, which I just think is quite a fun little period as well, even though his match is Dolph Ziggler. It's just cool. 2016 for me is a bit of a, I look back with rose-tinted glasses. It's a fun year.
Yeah, I mean, just to quickly add back to it as well, that like you said, the making of AJ Styles, and it was kind of like all the hard work had paid off at that moment right there. So I totally get it. But let's move on to 1998, and a lot of people probably aren't going to be as fond of this one as I am, but like, that you've got Triple H and The Rock in a ladder match, which is a great match. You've got Austin versus Taker in the main event for the WWE Championship. You've got Ken Shamrock versus Owen Hart in the Only Lions Den match, which is personally, I think, fantastic. Another match that I personally loved, that I know a lot of people hate, the Oddities defeating Kai and Tai, I think is one of the most funnest matches that you could possibly get on a SummerSlam card, and I enjoyed it so much. But it just in general, I think it's a fun card, and like I said, you've got that Lions Den match, which is a once in a lifetime. That ladder match, there's a bit of everything on this show, and I absolutely love this card.
Totally, indeed. It has a feel of iconic, that SummerSlam, the highway to hell. 3, 2, 1. Yes. I like it. Summer of Punk.
Yes. Look, I mean, to start off, first of all, Randy Orton versus Christian in a no-holds-barred match, I think is fantastic. Christian as champion, him trying to use Edge, having him in his corner, and Edge is like, nope. And then the match they go on to have, the finish with Orton doing the RKO on the steel steps, I just think is in general a fantastic and entertaining match. Then you get Punk versus Cena for the title with Triple H as the ref, and blows the expectations away of the quality that those two, well, just I think John Cena as well, being able to have a decent match, I think at that point it was really critical. And then I know it's soured by Del Rio cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase, but I just do think in general, in terms of the point in time that this card is and the stories that are coming out of it, I just think this is a high point for that era.
Yeah, 2011, the summer of Punk. A lot of people got back into wrestling that were on the sidelines or looking to do the tap out. They'd had enough of John Cena, and CM Punk came in and changed the game at that point. And obviously, we're going in to not only win at Money in the Bank here, but actually win the title as well. The champion versus champion match at SummerSlam 2011. It's a really good shout. I'm pleased it's in there because, controversially, it's not in my top 10. It was close to being in the top 10. It's not in there at all. And I'm pretty sure some people will be unhappy about that decision, because I'm a massive CM Punk fan. Like I say, 2011 is special, but I just felt outside of that match, there wasn't enough for me to put it in as an event as a whole. But I do can agree with the sentiment of, Punk and Cena being a special match in itself. But isn't that as well? I think it was where Kevin Nash returned as well to give us nightmares for the rest of 2011, I believe, as well. But myself, I have got my favorite CM Punk match, though, in the 2013 SummerSlam. CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar, a match that I think Dave Meltzer rated 4.5 stars. It was when Paul Heyman had turned on CM Punk. Obviously, Punk had his run as champion for 434 days. Brock had moved with Heyman as well in the meantime. Obviously, Brock was on the rise. Wouldn't be too long before defeating the streak. And just their styles together, Brock and CM Punk, was just incredible to watch. And it's a match that I could watch again and again. I think it's one of the best matches in SummerSlam history. But the thing is, to have not just one of the best matches in SummerSlam history, you have another one in the main event, Daniel Bryan versus John Cena. And Daniel Bryan beats John Cena clean to win the championship. Only the fact is, though, Triple H is a special guest referee, and that's the moment of the birth of the Authority. Of course, Triple H turns on Daniel Bryan, and that's when Randy Orton cashes in that briefcase. For me, 2013, it's a really good SummerSlam in what's not really the strongest era of WWE.
No, but this, like you said with the Summer of Punk before, this one as well, I think 2 years later, and the whole Daniel Bryan run up to that WrestleMania is just another. It's almost like they dropped off again after Punk left. Well, sorry, they dropped off again somewhere between that, because sort of Punk was anything really going, and then Daniel Bryan comes along and he's like this shining beacon of an underdog story. And like, look, don't get me wrong, expect to see 2013 in here again. Don't worry.
You know what's coming in, so we move on to number 5. 3, 2, 1. Ah, yes.
I won't lie, I'm not offended by your pick, but look, I told you 2013 was going to come up again. Here it is, 2013. Just to touch on it again, look, I think the Daniel Bryan story is the greatest underdog story of WWE's history, and this is kind of one of the biggest points in that storyline. And like you said, you had that CM Punk match to the card as well. It's a great SummerSlam overall. But please, look, I like where you've put this one.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, for someone that is British, someone that's been for a fan since around 1992, a lot of people would actually think that this should be higher. But for me, this is the show that probably made me be a wrestling fan for life. Let's just put it that way. Main evented with Bret the Hitman Hart versus the British Bulldog for the Intercontinental Championship was such a special show in Wembley Stadium in London, England. Of course, I was born in London, so there you are. It's got a lot of the sentimental feels. Bulldog winning the title in an absolute classic as well at SummerSlam, arguably the best ever match that you could say could have been in SummerSlam history as well. There are other great moments on this show as well. Obviously, you got the likes of the Ultimate Warrior going against Macho Man Randy Savage, of course, and one of the better Ultimate Warrior matches, you could say. There's just a lot of talking points from top to bottom on this show. You know, the likes of Undertaker versus Kamala. You've got LOD versus Money Inc. Of course, that's the one infamously where Hawk was very drunk having the match. You know, there is a mix of the good and the bad, but the fact is that this show is just so iconic, and you know, it's something that I think UK fans have wanted ever since. We've been fortunate enough to have AEW All In come a couple of times to Wembley Stadium, but I think a lot of us fans would be begging to have a SummerSlam in Wembley Stadium once again.
Yeah, agreed. Look, I'm not against this where you've put this. This is, going back to my earlier statement, this is almost a one-match card where you've got Bret versus Bulldog in the main event. Warrior Savage kind of makes it a 2-match. I think the finish is a DQ or something like that, which kind of is a bit underwhelming if I remember correctly. But dude, I look, you're going to see it come up again, guaranteed.
3, 2, 1.
We're very close.
We are
very close a couple of times. 1992 is in my number 4, but I like the 2001. Let me just touch on 92 again. This was actually considerably higher up, like as in like this was like number 9. I think I had this, and then when I was just going through and comparing everything to it, this crept its way up. This was actually, like I said, this was a like not 9 or 8 or something. Just going for my answers and comparing it to everything else, this managed to finally seal its spot at number 4. But please do go on about 2001, one of my favorite SummerSlams of all time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we are, you know, with Drowning Pool, Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. It's full on Alliance versus WWE. So it's WWE versus WCW versus ECW period. The Invasion is not remembered fondly by all, but I tell you what, SummerSlam 2001 just is a really good show from start to finish. There's some really good matches. Edge versus Lance Storm for the IC title. We've got Chris Jericho versus Rhino. Great chemistry in ring as well. We have the likes of Kurt Angle versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yes, the match ends in a DQ, but it's an absolute banger for the 20 minutes they wrestle as well. RVD, my favorite wrestler of all time, having a ladder match with Jeff Hardy for the Hardcore Championship. Yes, please. That's brilliant. It's such a good match. And as well, look, the main event of this show is for the WCW Championship. How often can you say that on a WWE show? The Rock versus Booker T as well there. The Rock Bottom versus the Booking. And of course, The Rock walking out as WCW Champion. It's just a great show from the start to finish for me. Really remember it fondly. And yeah, I can't speak highly enough of it.
Peak teenage years, 2001. So you turning just, for me, I'm turning just 16 at this point. just for me, this is like one of the highlights. Like you said, the invasion angle as well. And I know people sour upon it, but for me, I think at the time, this is kind of what we're getting now with TNA and like a lot of the crossover stuff, TNA and NXT and New Japan and AEW. This was the original one, man. This was the original one, and this is the culmination of the invasion story, if I think I remember correctly. And I love this, man. This was a great SummerSlam.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, it dove us all the way through to Survivor Series with that ultimate final stakes for the Survivor Series match. But yeah, this is a killer show. Love this one.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Nice. Last year's SummerSlam is in the top 3 for NXT. Give it to us.
This might be a bit more recency bias just because obviously this is the most recent one that we have, but I think it's a great pay-per-view card. You've got Priest winning the World Heavyweight Championship from Gunther winning the World Heavyweight Championship of Priest. Cody Rhodes defeats Solo Sikoa in the Bloodlines match. Drew McIntyre defeating CM Punk with Seth Rollins, and the fact that story is still going on and the spin-off from that. Liv Morgan having a quality match with Rhea Ripley. Bron Baker defeating Sami Zayn in a match that probably could have done with more time, but I just think across the board, such a solid card, and I thoroughly enjoyed it from start to end. I honestly loved that SummerSlam.
I think there might have been an injustice from this side. Why is this not in my top 10? Why is it not there? Because now that you start talking about it, it all keeps flashing back to me. Even if it's been like 7th or 8th, I think I should have put it in the top 10. I've done something wrong here. But do you know what? Great shout. Great SummerSlam. Really some special moments in that show. Obviously, Dom aligning with Liv is one that really stands out. And like you say, Finn Balor as well. The Judgment Day turning on its head that night then. It really made storylines very exciting going into the full season last year in WWE. And obviously, Roman returning at the end of the show as well. Obviously, with the Cody solo match, which again, I think the main event is probably the area that slightly lets it down. But from everything else you've mentioned, it's a really good show. And it's certainly worth being in that top 10. For me, Highway to Hell, 1998, you've mentioned it already. For me, it's an iconic SummerSlam. It's one of the first ones I think of when someone mentions the word SummerSlam, and 98 is arguably the boom period for WWE. Obviously, it's going head-to-head with WCW at this point, but arguably giving some of its best content to try and be original, break through, and stand out and get above WCW and stay above them. Austin versus Taker in the main event is just... It's excitement personified to the idea of the table spot that's done as well with the leg drop off the top rope through it, and Austin finding a way to beat Taker as well, because at that point Taker felt unstoppable after what he'd done to Mankind in Hell in a Cell a couple of months earlier. You have obviously on the show the ladder match, Triple H versus The Rock, which of course is DX versus Nation of Domination. It's just an old school ladder match, but it's done at its finest. Madison Square Garden just throws out iconic ladder matches. Lions Den you've mentioned as well already in there, and it's a really good time. There's Hair versus Hair, X-Pac versus Jeff Jarrett on the show as well, so there's a bit of something for everyone when it comes to this show, and it's a brilliant SummerSlam in my opinion. Yeah,
that's it. It's great, man. It's maybe I underrated it and put it too low down, but I can see why you've put it up there, man. Like I said, there's some great stuff on there, and like you said, the story of Austin Undertaker, I'm probably undersold. In fact, I know I did undersell it. So look, I'm glad that you've been able to put a spin on it and give more information as to why it should probably be higher up on my card.
Well, we'll have to wait and see if it will be in the top 3 at the end. Let's move on to number 2. 3, 2, 1.
Yes, we got one right.
We are matching. I love it.
Oh dear. Look, let me just start with 2000. 2000 for me, just what a show, man. Even if you throw away the Undertaker Kane match with ends in the no contest, you've got TLC 1, you've got Benoit versus Jericho in a 2 out of 3 falls match, Blackman with Shane McMahon taking that insane bump, Jerry Lawler defeating Taz, which is a bit not too good, but the main event as well, the Rock Triple H angle. Look, man, you can give me more context, but I just remember it being a great show in general.
Yeah, I mean, SummerSlam 2000 is like, I don't know, you had to be there. Like, 2000 was just one of them years for WWE where almost every, pay-per-view they did just was knocking them out of the park. It was like watching baseball and just seeing home run after home run. And SummerSlam for me just might have been the pick of the bunch of all of them. And like you say, TLC 1, you didn't know fully what to expect. You'd seen the ladder match at WrestleMania with the three teams, Edge and Christian, the Hardys and the Dudleys, but throw all the other toys in there as well. And just seeing Bubba go flying off the top of that ladder going through 4 tables. For me at that point, my jaw hit the ground as a teenager. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Obviously with the Triple H and Kurt Angle storyline going on with Stephanie McMahon as well, obviously where her allegiance is at the time, Kurt Angle having the concussion in that main event to come back to the ring as well partway through the match there was just, you know, it was just a very newsworthy match. It was a strong main event as well in the show. And like you say, when you got the likes of Benoit, Jericho mixing it up for 2 out of 3 falls as well, it's a really good show. I mean, the spot from Shane McMahon is crazy, and many people forget that Steve Blackman actually jumps off of that and lands on Shane McMahon afterwards as well. It's just iconic SummerSlam, and it's hard to think that this SummerSlam is not number one, but I think there's one better, and clearly you do as well. 3, 2, 1.
2001 for me. 2001. Sorry, my 1 looks like a 7. Dude, look, well, you're going to tell me in a minute something that I've obviously missed with 2002 because it's not even in my top 10. We talked about this before, and I said, look, I had 2 between the years of 2000 and 2009. And I was like, I went through all the cards, and I'm obviously missing something. But let me talk about 2001 quickly. The invasion angle is one of the best things I watched as a kid, and just to have, I know it's not the greatest card in the world, but like you said, you've got The Rock winning the WCW title. Like, it's one of those things that you think you're never ever going to see, and you've got Rob Van Dam and Jeff Hardy in a ladder match. These two guys that one that epitomizes hardcore, and the other one that's, do you know what I mean, built a foundation of having really good ladder matches. It's just, for me, it's the most fun card I could possibly watch. And for me, again, every time we do these lists, I purely do them based on what I love. And I'm really intrigued now because I want to know what I've missed with 2002.
Well, I'm going to say, I love the fact that you base it off of what you love, because this is exactly what I do as well. This is all about emotion and passion and fandom. And 2002 just brings all of that out of me, because when it comes to that SummerSlam, I don't know if the perfect show exists, but if a perfect show does exist, this just might be it. Along with WrestleMania 7, I think this is one of the best shows of all time. The unsanctioned match was Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Shawn Michaels had not wrestled for 4 years, and he came back, and then he got taken out, and he got revealed that it was his best friend Triple H. DX was going to be a thing until it wasn't. Triple H wanted to take Michaels out of the game, and their unsanctioned match was 20 plus minutes of torture on Shawn's back, and all weapons, all killer, no filler. But Shawn manages to pick up the victory, just to then be mercied by Triple H afterwards with the sledgehammer. In a moment, we just genuinely winced, because of Shawn coming back, you believed, you knew the back injury was real. Is he ever going to come back, seeing being wheeled off on the stretcher? You've got The Rock versus Brock, the passing argument. Well, it wasn't just the passing of the torch. Brock took the damn torch. He was the next big thing and became the champion. Someone that literally debuted after WrestleMania that year, had gone on to win King of the Ring to go and win the massive title. And in New York as well, literally, fans were booing the People's Champion as he went off to go and do movies. And then he had to come back as Hollywood Rock back in 2003. I mean, you got the likes of Edge versus Eddie Guerrero on this show. You've got the likes of Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio, which I think could be the best opening match in SummerSlam history. It's just fantastic, fun, fast-paced as well. Un-Americans are defending the tag team titles against Booker T and Goldust, which of course that's just the comedy duo we didn't know we deserved in 2002. There's some variety and something for everyone on this show that's just really, really good. I think the only match that probably, if anything, isn't a great matches, Undertaker versus Test, but still it's a fun time to watch as well. American Badass as well, just dominating Test, obviously, of the Un-Americans. But for me, this SummerSlam is just, again, as I said, close to perfect as you can get.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've gone back and I'm looking at the card now while you've been talking, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself how I haven't actually picked this in my top 10, because you're right, you've got, like, there was names that I saw and I turned around and when I was like, Ric Flair defeating Chris Jericho in a submission match, and I'm sitting, my brain can't think of it off the top of my head. And then you, like you said, Angle versus Rey Mysterio, possibly the greatest SummerSlam opening match ever. Edge and Eddie Guerrero having a match is probably killer because my brain is obviously like a sieve for retaining information. RVD Benoit, I imagine, is a great match as well. Taker Test, like you said, probably is a bit of a dud. Michaels Triple H, everyone knows that's great, that unsanctioned match. The Lesnar Rock match, do you know what? I think it's one of them ones that, because I've seen Lesnar in or around those people so many times, unless I watch the match to remember what one it is why I've probably thrown shade on it. But you're right. I think this probably should have been in my top 10. I don't still think I would have had it as number 1. I think this probably should have been in my top 10.
Interesting indeed. But what will be seen as the best SummerSlam PLE event of all time? It's time to add up the scores. Right then, NXT. Let's go through them. What is the top 3? Starting with 3rd place, please.
Number 3, 1992. I mean, look, we didn't put it number 1, but it's made the top 3. You couldn't get more perfect if you tried, really. I think that's the greatest spot for SummerSlam 92, being number 3 with Bret versus the Bulldog as the main event. Number 2, 2001 Invasion Angle. A great card. We both enjoy it very much. And number 1, it's so obvious, it's 2000. I think this is the first time we've ever done one of these where one of our number 1s don't make it, because unfortunately, because I'm a dunce and didn't pick 2002, it didn't make it, so I apologise now. But yes, it's 92 at number 3, 2001 at 2, and 2000 at 1.
To be fair, though, I mean, it's still a very good lineup there. I mean, SummerSlam, in the top 5 of SummerSlams, in my opinion, that I've picked there, I'm quite happy with any of those.
4, honorably.
So, yeah.
We'll put number 2002 as number 4, honorably.
Love it. I love it. But hey, that's what we have thought. But what do you think in the comments below? Let us know. What is your top 10 SummerSlams? Do they match with us? Do you have different options? What have we criminally left out? Because, hey, I didn't mention 2024. I didn't mention 2011. I didn't mention 2005. Rey versus Eddie, the custody of Dominic Mysterio, the wacky Hogan Shaw match. It wasn't mentioned, but let us know. What have we missed? But hey, you might have agreed with us, and if you do and you've enjoyed the video and you've watched this far, then that means you should hit that like button, because you've watched the whole video anyway. Why wouldn't you hit the like button at this point? Share it with a friend as well. Let them know what you've watched. Subscribe if you are new here. Thank you for watching. Look after yourselves and each other. This has been the 10 best SummerSlam PLE events. We're going to do the same for SummerSlam matches as well, the top 10 of those as well. And hey, if you like SummerSlam 2000, keep an eye out for the channel next week, because do you know what? That's going to be our next Rewind episode as well. Plenty of reasons to get involved on this channel. Look after yourselves and each other, and we will see you for the next video.